There's a hidden danger all around us, one that's worse than any crime or criminal gang. The thinker Hannah Arendt saw this danger after watching the horrors of dictatorships. Unlike criminals who can be caught and jailed, this threat works. Unseen, it breaks down societies from the inside and ruins what we've built. That threat is stupidity. But why did Arendt think stupidity was worse than crime? Why did she say it wasn't just about being dumb, but was actually the foundation that horrible acts are built on? In this video, I'll show you this eye-opening view, helping you spot dangerous stupidity in our world, our communities, and maybe even in your own thinking. Hannah Arendt was born in 1906 to a German Jewish family and became one of the most important political thinkers of her time. During the rise of the Nazis, she watched her educated, cultured society turn into something terrible. After escaping Germany, she spent her life trying to understand how this change was possible. For years, she studied how normal people took part in awful systems. She went to the trial of Adolf Eichmann, expecting to see a monster. Instead, she found something much more disturbing. A completely ordinary man who simply didn't think. One night, after months of watching Eichmann's trial, she sat in her hotel room looking at her notes in shock. This man who had helped send millions to their deaths wasn't driven by deep hatred. He spoke in catchphrases, couldn't think beyond slogans, and seemed unable to see reality from anyone else's view. In that hotel room lit by a single lamp, Arendt realized she wasn't seeing extraordinary evil, but extraordinary thoughtlessness. The biggest crimes in history weren't mainly done by psychopaths. They were made possible by armies of people who didn't think. It was then she came up with her idea of the banality of evil, and saw that the real danger wasn't evil intent, but the lack of thought. A specific kind of stupidity that's far more dangerous than criminal behavior, which I'll now explain. Criminals, as Arendt saw it, work within known limits. They know they're breaking rules, which is why they try to hide what they do. They fear getting caught, which makes them predictable. Society has many systems to find, track, and contain criminal behavior exactly because crime follows patterns and leaves evidence. But stupidity has no such limits. It moves forward confidently, often disguised as strong belief or certainty. You can reason with a criminal about risks and rewards, but you can't reason with stupidity because it rejects the very tools of reasoning, evidence, logic, and reflection. A criminal can be persuaded by self-interest, but the stupid person can't be persuaded because they've stopped questioning their own beliefs. This makes stupidity far more dangerous than crime. A criminal might steal your wallet, but stupidity can destroy entire countries while believing it's saving them. As Albert Einstein famously said, "Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe." What makes stupidity truly scary is how it feeds itself. The more stupid a person is, the less able they are to see their own stupidity. This creates what psychologists call the Dunning-Krueger effect, where the least capable people are the most confident, while the most capable people have more doubt. We've all met people who answer complex problems with simple slogans, or who dismiss well-researched information with a casual "that's just your opinion." It's frustrating because there's no way to reach them. They've closed themselves off from the possibility of learning or growth. But one person's stupidity, while annoying, isn't the real threat. The danger comes when stupidity becomes widespread, when it infects institutions and societies. Stupidity grows in ways crime cannot. A criminal organization needs secrecy and planning, which limits its size. But stupidity thrives in the open, spreading through cultural stories, political movements, and social media that reward simple certainty over complex truth. Throughout history, we've seen how mass stupidity enables disasters that no criminal could create alone. People don't give up their critical thinking because they're evil. They do it because thinking is hard and painful, especially when it challenges who we think we are and our social connections. They choose comfortable stupidity over uncomfortable thought. And once a population has embraced stupidity as a virtue, there's almost no limit to the horrors they'll accept or commit. They'll deny scientific evidence, believe conspiracy theories, and support policies that hurt their own interests, all while feeling righteous and certain. This is why stupidity isn't just annoying, it's deeply dangerous. And to face it, we must first understand how it works. Stupidity moves through society like a disease, unaffected by facts or contradiction. It doesn't question itself or look at its results. It moves forward with complete confidence, making it nearly unstoppable. Once it gains momentum, Arendt saw this in Germany, a nation that had produced great thinkers, musicians, and scientists, suddenly believing the crudest propaganda and most obvious lies. This shows us something crucial. Stupidity is not mainly about lack of intelligence, but about giving up moral judgment. Some of history's smartest people have been deeply stupid in Arendt's view. Think about Wernher von Braun, the brilliant rocket scientist who claimed he was just following orders while using slave labor to build rockets for Nazi Germany. His genius didn't prevent his moral stupidity. On the other hand, many people with little formal education show deep wisdom and moral clarity because they keep their ability to judge for themselves. Intelligence measures brain power. Wisdom shows the courage to use that power responsibly. Stupidity, at its most dangerous, comes from giving up personal judgment to outside authorities. It's not that people can't think, it's that they choose not to think. This change happens through patterns I'll now explain. Stupidity grows when thinking becomes socially costly. In places where questioning the group leads to rejection, mockery, or worse, people learn it's safer to accept group delusions than to risk thinking for themselves. It's not natural stupidity, but learned stupidity, a response to social pressure. Arendt saw this pattern in dictatorships, but it happens in democracies too. When society rewards going along over critical thinking, when complexity is dismissed as elitism, and when loyalty to your group matters more than truth, stupidity becomes a rational adjustment to irrational circumstances. The scariest part of stupidity is that it can exist alongside technical skill. A person can be brilliant in their specialized field while remaining fundamentally stupid about broader human concerns. They become what Arendt called educated Philistines, technically skilled, but morally and politically thoughtless. This explains why societies full of highly educated professionals can still make catastrophically stupid collective decisions. Their training teaches them to work within existing systems, rather than to question those systems' basic assumptions. When faced with facts that contradict their beliefs, stupid people don't reconsider. They dig in, becoming more entrenched. You're not arguing with a person. You're fighting automatic defense routines designed to protect them from the discomfort of thinking. This is why Arendt insisted that stupidity can't be solved through traditional education alone. Facts and information aren't enough. What's needed is learning to judge, the habit of thinking independently, even when it's uncomfortable. Until that happens, giving more evidence is useless. If stupidity means giving up individual judgment to group opinion, how can we protect ourselves and our communities from its influence? How can we build the courage to think in a world that often punishes thoughtfulness? Here's what we can learn from Arendt's insights. First, practice being alone with your thoughts. Arendt saw a difference between loneliness, the painful absence of connection, and solitude, the productive presence of yourself. Regular periods of disconnection from group opinions, whether from social media, news, or peer pressure, create space for real thinking. When was the last time you formed an opinion without immediately checking if others shared it? Thinking requires talking with yourself before talking with others. As Arendt wrote, "The sad truth is that most evil is done by people who never make up their minds to be good or evil." Second, listen to different viewpoints. Stupidity grows in echo chambers where assumptions go unchallenged. Seek out thinkers who deeply disagree with you, not to beat them, but to understand them. The goal isn't to reach easy agreement, but to hold multiple viewpoints in mind. This doesn't mean accepting all views as equally right. It means seeing that no single view captures the whole truth. As Arendt noted, we can only see reality clearly from multiple angles. Third, protect independent institutions. Stupidity gains power when knowledge-producing institutions lose their freedom. Universities, scientific groups, courts, and journalism must be protected from both market pressures and political interference. This isn't about elite privilege. It's about keeping spaces where thinking can happen without immediate usefulness or popularity determining its value. When everything becomes political, thinking becomes impossible. Fourth, embrace complexity and reject oversimplification. The mark of stupidity is reducing complex realities to simple stories with clear villains and heroes. Train yourself to notice when issues are being artificially simplified and resist the comfort such simplifications offer. Real thinking begins when we acknowledge that most important problems have no easy solutions and involve real trade-offs. Finally, practice the courage of judgment. Arendt believed that thinking and judging are inherently risky activities. They separate us from the crowd and expose us to criticism or worse. Yet this risk is exactly what makes them valuable. Each time you form a judgment based on your own assessment rather than following authority or the crowd, you strike a small blow against stupidity's power. This was Hannah Arendt's answer to the epidemic of thoughtlessness that enables history's greatest crimes. In our divided world, where algorithms reward extreme positions and discourage nuance, her insights matter more than ever. Stupidity isn't just a personal failing, it's a social phenomenon that threatens democratic societies from within. No outside enemy poses as great a danger as our collective refusal to think. As Arendt warned, the path to evil begins not with spectacular villainy, but with the quiet surrender of judgment. The battle against stupidity begins with a simple yet powerful act: the decision to think for yourself. Stay questioning, stay thoughtful, stay free.